You watching Kenroy Batiste TV. Click, view, convenience around the clock.
Hey guys, you're watching Kenroy Batiste TV and this is Personality Grenada. We continue with the series Gallo here and we want to welcome to our set Ali Dowden. The man himself. Good to see you, Ali.
Good to see you too,
What is your
Kenroy.
second name? Which you always splash on Facebook. Tell me about that.
It's Anthony.
So Ali Anthony Dowden.
It's actually Ali Anthony Brian Dowden. You said the second, you didn't ask for the third.
Gosh. Yes.
When you combine all of them, it ends up to be 4. Ali Anthony Brian Dowden.
People, it is, you know. All right, we'll find out a bit about you today. Indeed. So, Ali, you are going to be running against, I want to use a very careful word. I'll just say Dr. Keith Mitchell, who is now the opposition leader in Grenada. You're running in the same constituency he will be running in, St. George Northwest.
Yes.
As we say in local terms, I'll be very straight up with you. You have your belly. Tell me about that.
Yes. I say the same thing. I mean, no, but I kind of try to wonder, getting into the process, persons would ask me, I have my belly. But I still try to figure out and ask myself, what is this big deal of running against Dr. Mitchell? Dr. Mitchell, to me, in my view, is still an ordinary man, in politics.
I like the thing.
I don't see him as any... You see, what happened is, over the years, is that we look at politicians and we put them on this type of silver platter. And then now, when we start seeing the faults in terms of them, we start to crucify them. But I don't want to be put up on a silver platter, and neither do I see him on a silver platter. So I see him on the same ground with myself.
Right.
So I don't see it as a challenge going up against him. I see it as just in terms of he is running to give his views and his choice, and I'm running to give the people a second choice with my views.
So you don't see him on a silver platter?
No.
Neither do you say?
No.
So what platter you see you on? A grey platter?
I see us as ordinary individuals, just trying to fulfill the needs of the people.
Nice. No, I really I subscribe to that way of thinking. So I want to back up because your political history is deep. It's not as cut and dry. You didn't get up Sunday morning and say, oh, I want to get into politics. Your legacy in politics is quite deep. And we'll get into that. But first, let's start as best as we can chronologically. From where do you come?
Well, I came from Mount Morris, born in 1992, February the 19th, to 2 parents, Neville Griffith, my father, and Helen Dowden, my mother.
Yeah.
Then,
Any siblings?
yes. Fortunately, I have 1 sibling on my mom's side, and on my dad's side, I'm not too sure, but it's rumored that I have 32 siblings on my father's side. So it means that I haven't met a lot as yet. I haven't maybe even met half of them as yet. But that is what one of my big brothers told me, so I'm going with that.
52.
Yes.
How old are you, Ali?
I'm just 20, taking 21 on the 19th
Oh,
of
really?
February. Yes.
Now, this is a shocker to me. You know that. Amazing. But you might be that age, but your mind is like perhaps a 32-year-old.
Some say so,
Yeah? Right.
and I believe so.
Right. Ali, you are involved in a number of associations here. Cancer, for example. Foundation, is it? Grenada Cancer
Society.
Correct.
Yes.
To be politically correct. The Grenada Cancer Society, the Grenada National Patient Kidney Foundation.
And the Friends of the Mentally Ill Organization.
Wow. You are a person who is full of humanity. What is your connection to people?
Okay, well, basically, it started in my upbringing. I never grew up with my mom per se at the young age. She suffered mental illness when she had my bigger brother and when she had me. So at both stages, my aunt, who is now also just recently this year, came down severe with mental illness, and I have another aunt taking care of her. She grew me up as a baby. And so it all started in terms of the way my aunt brought me up and trained me. She always believed in showing love in terms of when time to correct. She don't, she wouldn't hit you or anything like that. She would maybe, give you time out or so forth, speak to you in the Christ-like manner. And then having to grow up basically without a mom. Because yes, my aunt Jocelyn Dowden would have filled that need and that position. I would have still wanted to know more of my mom. And then when I was about 8, 9 years, I started to stay with my mom. And then when I reached around 12, she came down severe again with mental illness. So I had to move again. And so I changed homes. And I saw all of that in the family. I have another aunt who suffered from mental illness also. So all of that and having to interact with persons. And some of the stigma that persons in the public go through, especially persons living with mental illness, I had to go through that because my mom and my family, it runs in my family, the closest one to my mom's side. So I had to grow up under all of that stigma. And when I have to go to them, who child at a young age want to go to what we call the pink house to see their parent or their aunt? And so, I had all of that growing up with me. And I always said, I want to be someone to make my parents proud, my family proud, my country proud. Despite I'm not perfect, and I acknowledge that I'm not perfect, but because I went through all of that process and I saw the hurt and the pain that people had to go through, it affected me a great deal. And I said, you know what, when I grow old, I want to just dedicate my whole life to service to humanity. And so I made that dedication a long time ago when I spoke to God, and I said, you know what, in this life, to me, it's not about owning a big home. It's not about owning money, a big car. To me, if I get the opportunity to just serve humanity and just, at least somewhere to stay and at the end of the day some food to eat, I'm good for that. I don't need a job. I can stay on the street every day and just meet persons and feed them and greet them. That's the way I am. I always want to bring relief to people.
Yeah. Ali Dowden, I want to ask you this very, well, it might be important, it might be not so important, but to me it is. What do you value most in life? In all the trappings of this world, what do you still value most?
Serving people.
Yeah?
Service to humanity is what I value most. And having a close walk with the Heavenly Father above.
Have you been able to meet that desire to serve and walk with God, as you say?
To an extent, yes. The desire to walk with God, yes. The desire to serve people on a larger basis, no. At present, I serve persons and the public through charitable organizations, and that's the reason why I got involved in politics, so that I can serve humanity on a much larger scale.
Okay, so let's get into it one time. Your involvement in politics. Why politics, Ali Dowden?
Interesting question, actually. Why politics? Politics because, as I said before, my interest is serve people. And to me, politics is when you get into politics to serve humanity. But the only thing is that you're serving humanity on a larger scale. So I decided to get into politics as a means of serving humanity at a larger scale. You see, politics, when you think of politics, you think of power. When you think of power, it can be good or bad. And when you think of good power, you think of using power to benefit the masses.
Nice. I subscribe to that, indeed. So, okay, let's look at the political situation right here in Grenada. There's the New National Party, NNP, green. There's the National Democratic Congress, yellow, and other political parties. You know, understand we have some 15 political parties here? Are you aware of that?
I understand that we have 17 political parties.
Well, tell me about that one. Do we have too many political parties here, Ali?
The question can be answered, you can have two answers. You can have it, yes, in terms of Grenada is democracy, that's what democracy is about. But then when you look at the size of Grenada, you can say, no, it's a bit too much.
Yeah.
But also, in terms of, although all these political parties are registered, now a lot of these political parties now are outdated, meaning that, for example, like the Morris Bishop Patriotic Movement, they're no longer basically in existence, but they're still on the books.
Right.
So I think when they refer to 17 political parties, that's basically what is on the books, but not maybe necessarily what is actually functional.
Yeah, I think so too. So why have you chosen to align yourself with the National Democratic Congress?
Because of its views, its core values, that of accountability, transparency, integrity in public life, honesty, I see these principles as what I would want in life and to be, and what the Grenadian public wants. So it's kind of like a reflection of what the public sees and wants, and so I decided to align myself with NDC. When you think of NDC, you think of patriotism, and you look at the leaders who would have served in NDC, and you realize that they come from a very patriotic background. Everything is about Grenada, and not themselves, per se.
And what do you think you are bringing to the party as we speak?
Well, I think as a young person, I bring creativity, innovation, energy, new ideas, as they say, young blood, getting into politics. So I see myself as bringing that new outlook, because especially in the times that we live in, we're asked and persons are saying that we need to think out the box, and I totally agree. We need persons who can think out the box, and I think young people are more inclined to think out the box compared to the few that are still in politics in terms of the older age group.
Right, right. And what are some of the issues you are hoping to champion being a part of the NDC?
Well, the continuation of accountability and transparency to the public, first of all. More engagement with the ordinary man on the street. I always believe that the ordinary man must feel comfortable to come to a politician, and the politician must be able to listen to that person, and that person must, when they leave, they must get a sense of hope, a sense of direction. So engaging the masses. I think we have been a bit disconnected from the masses, both political parties. Also championing the youth. I want to give a voice to young people. Our population is 60% is young people, and when we look in terms of politics in the political realm, there is no one per se within the age group of a youth to represent them at that high level of policy making. I am now getting into it, so I am hoping that I will be maybe not necessarily the first one, but at least in these times, be able to represent the youth and give them a voice. And when I speak of giving the youth a voice, I'm speaking of doing a review of the National Youth Policy, bringing back on stream the National Youth Council, whereby we will have parish councils and it would be able to engage the youth would have a voice, trying to see how we can continue constitutional reform by providing a special interest seat in the Senate for the youth. We have labor, agriculture, private sector, but we don't have none for the youth. So one of my big things would be championing the cause of young people.
Okay, so let's do a bit of supposing here now before we go to a break. You run against Dr. Keith Mitchell, and let's suppose you win, you defeat him in the next general election, 2013, right here in Grenada. What would be perhaps your first 3 priorities when you take office?
First 3 priorities in terms of my constituents or overall?
Relative to whether it's constituency, relative to the national scale.
Okay. Well, one of my first priorities out of the 3, one of the first thing is actually constituency-wise in terms of the setting up of a constituency council, which would be made up of both NNP, NDC, persons of different political backgrounds and strata. That council would serve as a guidance to uplift the community and engage persons going forward strategically. Again, as I said, in terms of youth engagement, in terms of trying to push for constitutional reform, whereby we can get more young persons in politics, whereby we can get that National Youth Council up and running, and we can get that special interest seat in the Senate for the youth. And also the issue of jobs. I want to see us create more factories in Grenada. We need to go industrious in terms of my view. When you go around the country, you look at the wastage that we have, the huge wastage with mangoes and all the fruits. I think we need some more industries that would be able to employ even the young people. It would help curb that unemployment situation and would be able to produce more. Productivity is something that I am very much interested in.
And industries such as what you talk about?
We're looking in terms of, when I talk in terms of agro-processing, in terms of processing our fruits, making juices, making jams, making jellies, further research in our cocoa and nutmeg, developing more products, more chocolate products, more cocoa products, etc.
Okay, we'll talk further, yeah, when we come back from the break. You are watching Personality Grenada right here on Kenroy Batiste TV, chatting with Ali Dowden, as he says several names. Ali, Anthony, Brian Dowden. Tell you about that one. We'll be back. See you soon.
You watching Kenroy Batiste TV. Click, view, convenience around the clock.
Welcome back, guys. You're watching Kenroy Batiste TV, and this is Personality Grenada, chatting with Ali, Anthony, Brian Dowden. I'm using all the names for this episode because I want to be on good stead with this gentleman. He has all his names and he wants his names to be mentioned. Thank you very much indeed. No, Ali, so good to have you with us. Really good. Ali, from your view, to what extent do you think you'll be able to inspire the young populace of this nation?
Well, just by being there, being in the front line politics, I think that is already an inspiration. And added to that fact, as persons would say locally, that I'm going up against the dark, and it would be a challenge. So just imagine a young person at that age, not only coming in frontline politics, but coming up against what we consider the father of the parliament.
Yes, oh yeah.
That in itself inspires persons, and it allows and it tells young persons out there that no matter what, there will be challenges in life. But to me, throughout the challenges, there comes opportunities. In every difficulty, we must look at the difficulty in the sense of where are the opportunities that lies within that difficulty. And I tell people, it's not about running to win, but for me, it's more about running to give you a voice, to give you proper representation going forward. I want to be a servant leader. I do not want my constituents to be behind me and I'm in front. I want them to be on the side of me, holding our hands together, moving forward. And that is my view of things. I want to be able to engage them and hear them. So because I bring all of that enthusiasm and energy into the politics, I think that inspires other persons. And it not only inspires other persons, but it inspires me as well to continue. Because when I liaise with persons from different political backgrounds, no matter whether it be NDC or GULP or NNP, even so they may not support the party that I am with, they support me as a youth and as a young person and what I bring to the politics. And so that inspires me to go on.
Yeah. Let me ask you a very direct question. Do you, Ali Dowden, think you will win the St. George Northwest seat in the next general election in Grenada?
Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible with the Lord. With the Lord in the midst, I think He has directed my life thus far. I have faced many challenges, and I was able to overcome all of those challenges successfully. And I am looking forward to even this greater challenge, and I believe I would overcome it successfully. Just a few years ago, a 21-year young woman at the age of 21 in St. Lucia. She came up against the St. Lucian sitting prime minister at the time, and she defeated him. No one thought she could have done that. But again, because of the youth and the energy that we bring. And so nothing is impossible. So long as the Lord, that is the Lord's will, I always say, the Lord's will. Whatever is the Lord's will, it will be done. And I believe that if this is the Lord's will, then it will be done. So it's not impossible. But we go forward with that blessed hope and assurance that, yes, there will be a victory.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the sermon. I appreciate that. No, but I'm told you came from church to come here. I mean,
Yes.
literally. I really appreciate your time. And Ali, let me ask you this. How do you respond to critics? Because obviously you will have some people who are big supporters of you, and then there will be some critics who obviously are supporting the other party, NMP for example, let's be clear here. And so they will set out perhaps to be destructive and to discourage you. How do you respond to that?
Well, I must say, sometimes I try to ignore, but sometimes it do reach a point in time that you figure you must give an answer in a nice way. But when you even give an answer, sometimes it irritates the situation even much more. When you try to bring your view and explain it, persons see it as you trying to make tebe, as what we would say in our local language. So I try to avoid it as much as possible. I pray on it. I let the Lord take the lead. And I'm new to it, so I'm trying to adjust nicely as the time go along and develop and learn. But I have a lot of persons who is most definitely helping me as I go along to guide me.
Yeah. I want to talk a bit about your speech, of course, at the NDC Montrouge gathering. I mean,
I hope I remember it.
people are talking so much about your speech. They were just so impressed by your delivery. Take us through the preparation and so on. And I'm told a great deal of it was spontaneous, and not to say, well, you wrote the speech a month in advance.
No.
That wasn't the picture at all.
It came from my heart. It was, as we know, the rally took place this Sunday. I had lunch at around 11:45.
Yeah.
Right after that, I left from the house I live in, and I went to a bottom house by another family of mine, and I sat there for about an hour and a half, and I wrote the speech, and then I prepared, and I got ready to come down to Montrouge, and then after that my driver took me to my school, SGU, so that I can do the printing there, and then I came and I delivered the speech. So I basically wrote the speech on my own, yes, and I wrote it about an hour before the rally. So it came from my heart. It was already there and what I wanted to say, and it was just a matter of putting it on paper.
Yeah. What do you make of the reception of the crowd at the NDC gathering at which you spoke?
It was really good actually, and there was a lot of excitement and energy in the crowd. You know, whilst delivering the speech, at many times I would have to stop because the crowd would get so noisy that you can't go on, and you have to let them calm down a bit, and then you continue the speech.
And it's really interesting you mentioned that, because when you see you hit some points and they start to respond to you, you had to give them the time,
Yeah, I had to,
yes.
sometimes take my hand and, go, okay, easy.
Yeah, before you continue.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a real boisterous,
Yeah.
a lot of cheering and, and I was really, it was a lot of excitement, and I believe that helped me in my delivery.
Yeah.
But I also thank the ministry for allowing me the opportunity to go through the youth parliament process, because that helped me develop as a person in terms of my debating skills and having to write the speech. And all my speeches basically, especially for this year when I took part in youth parliament, all of them was written about an hour before I actually went and delivered. So that helped me build confidence that I can do it. And hence the reason why before an hour or two before the rally, I would have wrote my speech.
Ali, if I were to ask you, what is your candid view on politics in Grenada, what would you say to me?
Right now, it's not so interesting.
Why not?
Interesting in the sense that in 2008, persons voted for a change. And in my view, change is a process. It doesn't come overnight. And there's many challenges that would develop along the way. And in terms of, let's put it in terms of NDC and NNP per se, the NDC came into a period of uncertainty with the economic crisis and the little bit of infighting that developed. And here it is that you have a prime minister who is grounded in his beliefs and principles and love for God. And I believe every time you look at him, you can see that he is led by God. God is working through him. But then you realize that the public is not so patient. They're a bit impatient, and they want everything now. Give me it now. and no one is really wanting to wait. And so I even ask myself the question at times, why would you want to get into politics now when there is so much of uncertainty? The uncertainty of, yes, you can lose the seat, and yes, the NDC can lose and you may not be able to make it. So there's a lot of uncertainty. But through it all, I believe, and I have a lot of faith in the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And I believe that they would understand that you cannot compare 4.5 years with 13 years, and that the period that NDC is governing in is not an easy period. And so we must give kudos to the leader of the party and all his ministers in government. I believe they're working very hard to bring the economy back on track. And I think we are seeing that glimpse of hope coming, but we just have to be patient. We look at America and Obama, the promises he made, he was unable to fulfill a lot of them. But he explained to the people that, hey, it's either we continue going with me, or you go back to the Republican Party on the same old policies, which took us down that dirty old road in the first place. And the people decided, you know what? I am going to give you another term to fulfill what you said back in 2008. And I am hoping that the same thing would happen right here in Grenada. So all of that, my hope and my faith in the people, I decided, you know what, I will get into politics. So that is basically my
So let me
view
ask
on
you
it,
this
that there
quickly.
is hope.
So in the event you are unsuccessful against Dr. Keith Mitchell, what would that mean to you? Would it affect you in any way?
I don't really see it affecting me. I will continue to work along with people. I am young. There are more opportunities out there. There are more elections to come. He will not stay there forever. He will have to be replaced. And therefore, the next time around, hopefully he would not run. And someone new would have to run in his place. But I would already be one step ahead of the race because I would have started in this upcoming election. So I see a bright future. I am not only looking at the present, but I am trying to look into the future with hope.
So you wouldn't be deterred by the results?
No, I don't believe I would be deterred because I understand fully the situation that I am up against. And so that's why I said it's not impossible, it is possible. But at the same time, if things don't work out, I fully understand what I got myself into in the first place.
And you will still remain committed to serving humanity?
Yes, I will still. I don't see that as a defeat necessary, but I see it as opportunities to come. I would have been out there, persons would get to know me. Right now, all I want to do is to leave that mark and that impression on the people and let them understand that I am here to serve. Whether it be it now, whether it be 10 years, 20 years down the road, I will still be there to serve because that is my passion. It comes from way within.
Yeah, indeed. What do you want to leave my viewers with? Again, I usually ask this question from time to time to some of my guests. The take-home message from Ali Dowden on life, on humanity, generally, your views on the way forward.
What I want to say again is that change is a process. It never comes easily. There's always challenges, but we have to work together to overcome the challenges. And therefore, what I say to you is let us live in hope. Let us live in faith. Exercise that faith that God has asked us to exercise. Yes. And move forward with the hope that things will get better and that better days are coming and that they're right on our doorstep. And we just need to exercise a bit of patience, be objective, and allow the Lord to lead. Pray. And I think that He would give us the direction in which we should go.
Do you preach, Ali?
Not necessarily,
Not necessarily,
because I
but
don't
you
see myself
evangelize,
as a
because
pastor.
we all are
Yes.
supposed to be evangelizers,
Yes.
because
Yes.
like evangelists as
Yes.
Christians.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming to our home, and
Thank
of
you
course,
very much.
the home of Personality Grenada.
Yes.
And sharing so much about who you are, the person behind the persona. We want to wish you the very best
Thank you
in
very
your
much.
pursuits. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Can't say more. Ali Anthony Brian Dowden. Thanks for watching Personality Grenada right here on Kenroy Batiste TV. Inviting you to tune in again next time. Yeah? Bye-bye.